Writing linear equations using point-slope form. We want to figure out what is the equation for a line that passes through point -4, -1 with a slope of -2. So I'm going to identify the parts of these points and the slope and then plug them into the form and solve it. So whenever you were doing slope-intercept form, you learned that there were two sets of coordinates. One of them was x1, y1, and the other one was x2, y2. And then in order to find slope, you had the change in y over the change in x. In this case, it only gives us one set of coordinates, but it already gives us the slope. So we learned that slope is mx plus b, where the slope is m. And then the coordinates, this one is only one set of coordinates, so this is going to be your x value, so x1, and this is your y value, so y1. I'm going to take these three and plug them into this form here, and then set up an equation. So we have y minus y1, which is -1, equals the slope, which is -2, times x minus x1, which is -4. So we learned whenever we were adding and subtracting integers, when you have two negatives, they come together to make a positive. So I like to think of this little guy as a scuba man. So you circle his eyes, that's his goggles, bring down his little air mask, and then he's going to pucker up because he's holding it in his mouth. So two negatives become a positive. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to circle the guy's eyes, bring down his little tube so he can breathe out of. He's going to pucker up his lips, and we're going to rewrite the things around him. When you subtract a negative, you actually add. So now we're going to use our distributive property, and we're going to space this out over here, and then we're going to combine like terms. So we have y plus 1 equals -2 times x is -2x. -2 times +4 is -8. So now I need my y to be isolated by itself, because that's how we're going to write an equation. Y equals something x and a constant and a coefficient. So we need to get rid of this +1. So the opposite of +1 is -1. When I do that, I'm going to create a zero pair. When I put a -1 on one side of the equation, I also have to do the same thing on the opposite side of the equation. So +1 and a -1 cancel each other out, so I'm going to put a z there for 0. Y is -2x, and -8 minus 1 is -9. So your equation is y equals -2x minus 9.